The final blow. For the past few months, I've developed an attraction to my coworker. We are both teachers. I'm married. She's not. I haven't acted on this attraction, but it's there. We've both acknowledged it, and that's as far as it's gone. I don't want to have an affair. I love my husband very much. But this attraction is something I can't explain. It's stronger than I am, and I need some help dealing with this. Do I tell my husband? Do I quit my job? It's the middle of the year, that not as easy as it sounds walking out on a classroom of students. My husband knows. I was married to a woman before I was married to him. I'm attracted to my husband physically. It started around the middle of October. I told her in December that it was difficult to be around her, working closely with her because I'm attracted to her. Admitting that she feels the same didn't help me at all. I don't think he knows I'm attracted to her. Update: I cut the female coworker off completely. Zero communication happening there. And I told my husband. He yelled, I got hit, and he moved to the man cave above the outdoor garage. I'm not sure what to do now, but give him time. This is a first time. He can have anger issues, which is why I was on the fence about telling him, but I know I did the right thing in telling him. He's a former cop, retired from the force, and is now the county coroner. Makes reporting him and anything being done not so easy in a small town. I cut the female coworker off completely. Zero communication happening there. Half a year later, I don't reach with this coworker any longer, and I had already cut off all contacts with her. Filed for divorce yesterday. Had to ask for a restraining order today. I will be glad when this is all behind me. He's the former head of the drug unit in this small town, and he's currently the county coroner. He's got a lot of connections. I have to be very selective with who I talk to. So, I don't know anything right now, but I fully expect a backlash when he is served. I left my house. I knew he wouldn't move out without a major fight, so I left. I'm staying about 25 minutes from him at my pond house. Basically, it's a small cabin on the water that's located on a farm I own. It's gated off from the main road, and I changed the code. I have what we call deer cameras located around here, but no cameras on the cabin. I probably need to invest in something better. Looked, and there's no tracker, so that's good. I've been better. I pulled out of the drive this him, and he was sitting across the road in his truck. Followed me to town. He still hasn't been served the row yet. I called the judge's office and told them he is following me and I need either a temporary row now or get the original one done. Said they'd work on it. Half a year later, a life update. I'm teaching kindergarten this year. Absolutely love it. I'm also dating again. He's a single dad, 3 kids. Not a lot of free time as he's a doctor, but he's a great guy. Hope everyone has a happy Thanksgiving. My comment, just a sad story from both sides. Maybe the love was not there, who knows. Story 2. The follow. My WWBD on the 8th of January 2023 informing me that she is involved emotionally with a co-worker. This started in November 2022. She told me this due to it becoming a PA from that point on. We have been together for 12 years and married 7 with 2 sons aged 10 and 8. In February I moved out of the family home due to her continuing PA and the mental torture being inflicted on not just me but the effect this was having on my children. She wouldn't leave and was adamant about this, so I had no other choice. Since then, I have been sharing custody of our children 50-50. Neither of us have mentioned D except in anger, always by her when she doesn't get her way, as I want to try and keep my family together as it's the right thing to do. 1. Basically have little contact with WW except drop off and pick up of the kids. 2. Never get in touch with WW at all except for emergencies. I should mention it is impossible for me to truly plan B, and will always have some although very little contact with WW due to our circumstances. What I'm struggling with is detachment. Early in the situation I was constantly thinking of her and what she was doing, but as time's gone by this is getting less frequent but not total. I can't see how anybody can emotionally detach totally. I need to mention I am standing for my marriage. I still love my WW and can see and understand that 50% of the reason she had her affair was down to me, but the other 50% of the issues in our marriage must be down to her, but I never crossed the line. Initially, once I found out about the affair, I did all the usual things that the BS does, but obviously this got me nowhere. WW continued to see her AP and created an environment at home that was extremely detrimental to my children, and I after several weeks of this basically missed plan A and fell straight into a type of plan B by separating from her. The mental and verbal abuse was something I wasn't willing to take, and seeing the damage it was causing to my marriage and to my sons took the hardest decision to find a place where I could get away from her chaos. I never had the chance to plan it as it was so volatile. I had to protect my kids and once apart, I then realized that the space helped immensely. I found some peace and started to work on how I could best protect my marriage and my children. My WW never contacted me at all, and I would never pursue her unless it was logistics for the children. Regarding exposure, the AP is married and has 2 young sons also. His W knows about his affair with my W. All family members and a few well-chosen work colleagues are also aware. The AP is not her boss. I know I'm mind reading, but it would seem everyone involved with WW isn't condoning her actions towards her family. Unfortunately, the situation with my WW means we are having to have F2F 3 days a week when she does not have custody of the kids. I will not allow her actions towards me affect their relationship with their mother. I basically allow her to have access to them but remove myself and return once goodbyes have been spoken, then show her out, stay civil and move on. I feel though through all of this that it's all irrelevant due to him being a co-worker. There's 0% chance on NC after the affair comes to an end, but won't be the one who files and be responsible for the breakup of our family. She did this, she should be man enough to end it. It would seem I'm in plan C but don't really have a choice. My situation does not allow me to totally go NC with my WW due to family commitments. Do you suggest I should not allow my boys to see their mom when they can? Again, that doesn't involve me as I'm not in the picture. Civil goodbyes are all the conversation I have when this happens. I have no other contact at all except logistics for handovers and emergencies. I have to co-parent and keep this very business like no friendly conversations, just give or take the boys depending on where they are on our parenting rotation. Now that I'm in plan C, how can I make this as best as I can to give me any chance of reconciling my marriage? WW has met with AP's W, but you are right about his side as I only know about WW family as I have told them all. Again, not sure about their work colleagues either and would appreciate anybody's templates for HR letters regarding their exposure. I had no choice but to leave the family home. It was one of the hardest decisions I had to make, but I had to do it for my children and my own sanity. There was no way the plan approach would have had any effect on her in this state. We were being systematically abused mentally and verbally, and me staying would have escalated it immensely. One thing people do say is research the subject, and some members were WW. They have given me a great insight to the wayward and their disrespectful ways towards the BS. Question is now, how do I manage my situation? More research I feel is necessary, but we'll start by gaining back my friendship with her and being her safe place if she feels the need to interact with me. Hopefully she doesn't see this as cake eating. So, confused. AP has moved back in with his parents but does spend time in the family home with my WW. I have had no conversations with a P wife. I will start talking to my WW but feel her attitude towards me at the moment is one of no respect at all. Why would I want to wait around for her to choose me as a plan B if her affair goes sour? She would have the best of both worlds and all her needs are being met that could go on forever. I suppose we are where we are in regards to my situation, but let me clarify. 1. I had no choice but to leave the family home as much as this was and as wrong it had to happen for the well-being of my children and me. 2. Logistically, I can't truly plan B as there has to be contact due to family commitments obviously. If I could this would be different, it just can't. I have no means to have an intermediary, so have to modify the contact as best I can. Now I understand this isn't helping my cause and understand your frustration for me, but there isn't much else I can do. Exposure, I assure you the affair is known. My WW and AP are blatantly going about town flaunting this and had family members and colleagues testify to this. Work staff have reported back to me personally that the affair is known there as well. I have not pursued this, they did it because they felt I needed to know. Please understand I'm not fighting anybody on these boards. I'm in a bad situation and I'm looking for a way to try and gain a successful resolution, so for me as Melody would suggest, plan B is now my path and try to plug the hole in the bucket of her love bank. Unfortunately, my children are well aware of the AP and so are WW family members. There have been numerous family occasions where he's participated. Come to think about it, on her 40th birthday party AP was introduced to all her closest friends, which was confirmed to me the next day. She has since had very little to no contact with these people. They have taken my boys S10 and S8 away for a week on a family holiday this year. Exposure, I did the exposure, or it was plain to see. I understand that WW could have said anything about why she is doing what she's doing, but my character is unquestioned by all. I intend to sound out AP's W and direct her to MB so that she can aid us both in destroying this affair. I'll also talk to her family members just to outline that although they know about the affair, I need them to also know I'm fighting for this marriage and our family and would appreciate any influence from them in the matter. Saying this, I feel WW is quite controlling and narcissistic. People tend to shy away from affair talk as they don't want it to catch on with their R and instead hide away so that the disease doesn't spread. I have arranged Operation Exposure for the 16th and hopefully all relevant people be hit at the same time. All I ask now is advice on how I can effectively carry out a plan whilst no longer living with my WW. I basically see her for tops 15 minutes when I have custody of the children, unless when pickups happen. I feel it impossible to instigate the guidance due to lack of opportunity. Do I ask her to accompany my boys and me on family outings, lesser than bonfire night in UK plus Christmas round the corner? Check in on her via phone call once a week. Remain friendly and a safe place for her when we have our face-to-face. All the above I feel will be met with contempt as she only has eyes for her AP. Do we continue to carry on with this so that if the affair ends, I'm still seen as having some investment in the marriage? I feel this action smacks of cake eating, where she has the best of both worlds, which could go on indefinitely. Now that I've instigated plan, I have noticed changes to her attitude towards me. An example: Yesterday we had an F2F when she was picking boys up from my house to take back to the family home, and we engaged in conversation which I kept almost flirtatious. Talk went on to bonfire night and how she would not be able to celebrate it due to her being away on the Saturday and not back until late on the Sunday. Obviously, they were spending time away together, but I remained courteous and calm and said she could pick the boys up once she got home but have them back for 20 due to us going to a fireworks display. I was thanked for this as it was my weekend to have the boys, but agreed for her to see the boys anyway. I mentioned she was welcome to join us. Everything carried on in this vein and on to Christmas, where WW said, "I know what you can buy Dad for Christmas," to which I responded with, "As long as it costs 700,000 WW," and I laughed. This interaction continued to go well with me reminding her of a dish that she made for me which involved an ingredient I was using for my dinner at the time. She chimed in with the missing ingredient I couldn't remember. I know it sounds nothing but was a major step forwards in her demeanor. Today was the total opposite. I could tell she was under pressure due to her childcare letting her down and not able to take the boys to school for her. I obviously said drop them off with me and I'll get them to school. Again, the conversation went on to the Sunday with a request from her knowing that I was taking boys to a display Saturday as well as Sunday. Could I give up the Sunday, allowing her to enjoy bonfire night with them? I agreed and we went our separate ways. As time goes on, I feel I'm going to get a lot of anger towards how I'm treating her in Plan A. My situation separated from my WW since February this year. I have 2 children aged 8 and 10 and am currently in a Plan I have exposed affair to all. See previous posts, and am waiting on the fallout which so far has not been forthcoming. The pod continues. Sunday the 19th of November did not have the boys, but as usual shared some time with them for a few hours. WW dropped them off to me and everything was civil. WW did not enter the house and as usual had her car running for a quick getaway. We talked to each other whilst the boys were gathering their things and the conversation turned to my night out. Sat, and did you have a good time? I know I shouldn't mind read, but why so interested? I mentioned to her what I did and she seemed really happy for me. We had a laugh about her cooking for the boys previously and how they didn't like it too much and basically went into a group discussion with the boys involved. The visit ended well with me running after my youngest with some soap suds for him which ended up on his head. WW gave me a very confused look when this happened, a look I've not seen before. Baby steps, what would improvement look like? WW to enter the house. WW to spend more time with the boys and me. WW maintaining eye contact more. WW laughing and engaging in conversation. We live in hope. I see this a lot with WW. Last night, see my previous post, WW and I had a quite civil encounter whilst she was dropping off things for the boys, as is our visitation rotation. Tonight she didn't even turn up at my place and instead phoned in the first instance, then FaceTimed the boys later. I call this the pushback, where I feel WW sees her actions as against her AP and instead in favor of the marriage. She actually feels guilty for spending quality time with me and needs to justify her action by going the opposite direction and punish not just me but the boys also by not physically seeing them. In one respect I see this as a small victory, but in another I'm hurt at how much control this affair is on her actions. It never ceases to amaze me how blind an affair makes even the most intelligent individuals, and of course how impactful their change of loyalties hits the BS. I think I pushed too far with WW tonight. WW picked up the boys from me and she mentioned that she wasn't feeling well enough to take the boys to the pictures as promised, but would on Sunday. I took all this on board and remained civil whilst we said our goodbyes. Later I text her I was so close and asking whether I could come to the pictures with you tonight. Lol, I hope you have a good time with the boys and hope you feel better soon. About 2 hours later she replied with a text saying was an unacceptable text, that's it. Did I pursue her too much? I feel I won't try this again, but really didn't think much of what I sent to be objectable. Do you feel I withdrew all of the good deposits I recently was able to do in my situation, and why did she react that way? I feel what I did made her feel guilty, which in turn made her unhappy with me. Not a good move. I am fighting for my as it's the right thing to do, but where I feel I'm different is in the fact so many things are already against me. AP is a co-worker. I don't think he is likely to be going anywhere anytime soon. My WW has a career at this place of work and as such will never leave that position, never. I had to leave the family home. Don't bother with the 2x4, as that was the right thing to do, and if anybody on these channels had to go through my kids and my life at that time, they would have done exactly the same. I have enabled her affair way too much, as has her place of work, her family, and certain friends. I feel his family and friends also don't condone their actions. What I intend to do going forwards: be more strategic in sowing seeds of doubt in WW or a P-head. Use the opportunity when we are together to stretch out the time as best I can. Remain friendly towards her, not condoning the affair, but just be there for her as a friend first, hoping to build on that back to her most trusted friend. Remain her safe place, allowing for her to vent about anything not related to the affair, as this is a well-instilled boundary of mine. Validate her when called for. Just use the time to work on me and my failings and see this thing out. I will never proceed to a D and will slow down her desire, but this has never come up in conversation unless she wants to punish me for not being that Mr. Nice Guy. I'm afraid I've come to the conclusion that due to my situation and the inability to properly plan or B but successfully plan C, I need to modify my approach as best I can to come somewhere close to the concepts mentioned on these boards and just stay hopeful this wretched affair runs its course. Even then they still work together, so hold little hope for my M, and due to this better off coming to terms with that and look towards accepting the D when she escalates it and get the best deal I can for my boys and me. I know I'll get a lot of stick for the above defeatist comments, but the odds are stacked way too much up against the M, but will continue as long as I can. Once I can't do this anymore, I'll have to go smart contact instead of a regimented plan B. My comment: your only objective is to end the affair. Being nice to her or friendly or keeping in contact is only beneficial to the extent it interrupts or hurts their relationship. I've seen guys talk their wayward wives into going to counseling with them for the kids, or to talk about co-parenting, or just to help the counselor help you deal with the changes in your life and accept things. Any excuse to just spend time with them and, thus, irritate the occupy their time and continue plan. Do not take any such counseling session as any kind of serious time to work on your relationship, because there is no way to actually work constructively on your relationship while the affair continues. Just doesn't work. Story 3. I found out 6 days ago my husband of 14 years, together for 19, was leaving to live at his parents'. We have 2 kids who are absolutely heartbroken. Doesn't help that mom is crying constantly and trying to put a smile on my face. We talked yesterday and he is leaning towards a divorce. We are giving it a month to see how it works. This came to me out of the blue. The last month was off and my gut told me something was wrong. He is having an emotional affair since January. He's done this before with same girl who lives in another country. He also is recovering from addiction and has depression and anxiety. I'm not innocent. I realized I've been in a funk the past year, not liking me and not self-care, which I'm sure added to it. I love him with all my heart. If you would have asked me 5 years ago, I would have leaned for divorce. We were constantly fighting. We don't fight, even with this separation. He's my best friend. So, do I give him space? How long? Do I try to text once in a while? I feel like if I'm not there he'll forget me. I know his love language is verbal. He sees a counselor. First it was painkiller and he is on meds to recover from that, but then went to weed and then alcohol. He said no to counseling for us. I told him he shouldn't talk to the other girl. He said I could say that, but I'm not sure I can follow through. So, this was yesterday. Today he came to spend time with my boys and I saw the wonderful dad he could be. He was helping me with little things that needed to get done. I was proud of myself, kept my composure. I didn't cry. I was to the point. Once he left was when I let it all out, crying. What do I want? I guess not give up on the marriage and saying give me the divorce papers. So, giving him space but at the same time my presence known. He took the kids today and they all had fun. I told him he was a great father on text and he thanked me. We don't fight at all. I told him a few days ago that I loved him. I figured once in a while a compliment. By no means do I want to seem desperate with constant texts. I'm hoping by the end of the month trial I can bring up couples counseling. He currently does not want to do it. As of now, no MC. He said no. He said we would need a miracle. His mind is set on the divorce, but said he wanted to give it a month or so to see how it is away from us living as divorced couple co-parenting. He wanted to see if his mind would change. He said I'm known for bad choices. My heart broke in 1,000 pieces last night talking to my older son. It really hit him. I was able to get him talking and he said he feels like he is losing everyone. First our dog, passed away 6 months ago, and now daddy. I reassured him he will always have me and listed all the people in his life. I told him he could talk to me about anything or if he has questions. He asked if this was going to be a divorce and I said I didn't know. My little one who is 7 is in his own world. He will say he misses daddy. He also told me not to say the word daddy because it makes his brother cry. I know love is a hard thing. By no means is he a prize. Many people say I'm a saint to deal with this, but he is my best friend. He does get help and is on medication for his drug abuse and depression, but he turns to other substances like weed or alcohol. I am very fortunate to have a very supportive family. They are there for me mentally, emotionally, and financially. They want what makes me happy. By no means am I a saint. I was going through a funk which added to this and had him go to the whole bag for emotional support. Why he left, he said I didn't compliment him enough. He said he is a child with low self-esteem and needs praise. I'm no saint. I was dealing with my own funk. I would just stay on the couch and watch TV or play on my phone. I've done a lot of reflecting the past few days, really trying to work on myself. I need to be happy with myself. Made goals of eating better and exercise. He told me I'm an amazing mom, that we just aren't the right fit. I'm thinking 19 years not a right fit. We never fight. All our conversations are civil. How do I let go? He is my best friend. I honestly don't know how. Reflecting, I probably should see a therapist. It's on my to-do list of self-care. I'm excited I'm going to get my hairstyle and get a new look. But at this moment I guess I just need to vent or talk to someone other than my mom and my best friend. They are too biased. I guess I need someone to tell me I'll be okay. The future just looks so scary. I know I can do it and I am an amazing person. But how do I let go my high school crush? Someone I've been with for so long. Someone who we can finish each other's sentences, laughed with, did big milestones with. I feel like love is a tricky thing. Reading everyone's post, you are right. He's not a man, just a boy who is messed up. To my knowledge, he has never met her. But today, for crap and giggles, I found her on Instagram with a picture with another girl posing by a statue that is in our city. So, she is in town. He left for this perfect opportunity to meet up with her. The picture is dated 3 days ago. In my mind, I thought I could get through if it was an emotional affair, but now, I think there's a good chance that it is now physical. What is he thinking? Going to move to another country to raise another woman's 3 kids from 2 men. I'm done. Throwing towel in. At first, I was willing to fight because I thought it was just emotional and she is in another country. I found a pic on Instagram, I'm pretty sure she is in town. I think I'm throwing in the towel. I guess I'm scared. How do I get through this? I'm definitely going to get a counselor. I'm so scared. This week has some of my highest and lowest points. I'm proud of myself for giving me a long overdue makeover for me, not him. But my struggle is the lowest points. How do I stop thinking of him? I journal, which helps, but before bed is the worst. Dumb thoughts of him and the girl, or what's going on in his mind. I'm tired of crying. I know it's a fresh cut and it needs time to heal. During the day I'm busy, but it's the nights that are my struggle. I loved how when we were making boundaries for the separation and I asked if we should see others, he says no. Then when we had our discussion and I asked, are you seeing anyone? He says no, but then admits he is talking to that girl. He's like, she's not the reason. BS. Then I find out she's in town. It's all a fantasy for him. She lives in a different country. It blows my mind. I knew something was off the past month and a half. Always trust your gut. I hate how I try to have a convoy with him and he says nothing or stumbles on his words, looking down. When we were creating boundaries about children and finances, it was like pulling teeth. If he wants to live in this fantasy, then he needs to man up. So frustrating and not fair. I hate that I'm crying over him. I have definitely taken care of me and it does feel so good. We do text, but about the kids, that's it. I totally believe to take care of yourself and you need to love yourself before anyone can love you. With reflecting, I did let myself go. I figure through this separation maybe I kind find myself. Today I did a face mask and a bubble bath. Saturday I scheduled a massage. I swear every 5 minutes I go back and forth if I want a divorce or not. It's so hard not to think of, especially before bed. I've kept myself busy. This chat room has been helpful. I just wish I had a friend to talk to about this. So far, my mom and best friend who lives out of state knows, but I feel bad blabbering to them. I'm proud of myself. I may listen on repeat. This is my fight song, but it motivates me. My goal today is to stay off Googling anything about divorce or separation or saving a marriage. I'm going to live in the present. I know this evening will be hard because I have to see him. He's picking up the kids, but I'm not going to cry and show him I'm strong without him. I've been fine all day and just now a meltdown. I think it's because in the mail a letter came that he changed the email to his credit card. I know this is a fresh cut that needs time to heal, but I just hate all these emotions. Part of me still wants him back. I run all these scenarios in my mind. I know I only can control myself, not him. I love how my best friend who lives in a different state check on me daily, just telling me she is proud of me. I would love a therapist, but all the places I called are all booked out for 2 or 3 months. I guess everyone is going crazy. This is my fight song. Take back my life song. Prove I'm alright song. I'll be strong. I did something dumb. I talked to him and asked what he was thinking, and he said 99% divorce, but he stumbles over his words or there would be silence. It's killing me. I get these waves of emotions. 1 minute I'm stronger than ever thinking I got this, and the next I'm bawling in tears. I'm promising myself no more pushing and to give him space. It's just hard because I have to see him in the morning. He takes our boys to school. He's very sweet in person and actually does more than he did when we weren't separated. I guess those nice acts are what gives me hope. I wish he was mean so I can hate him. So, I found this quote and it's perfect for me. As I was fighting for you, I realized I was fighting to be lied to, fighting to be taken for granted, fighting to be disappointed, and fighting to be hurt again. So, I stared, fighting to let go. I went through the entire house and switched all photos that he was in. I felt so much stronger. I also started telling more people and never felt so free. I realized I have so much support in my life. I keep hearing a lot what an idiot, which helps. In this process I'm starting to find myself again. I lost me with the marriage and raising children. This has been the time I am discovering my passions and myself. I used to hate looking in the mirror and now I'm appreciating me again and realize I am beautiful and I am a great person who deserves so much more. So empowering. My comment: he's been cheating for years and you've stayed and tolerated it. It is best to finally get a divorce and strictly co-parent if he wants to be involved. This relationship has been over a long time ago. Stop holding on to things and trying to force things that weren't meant to be. Divorce and learn how to love yourself. You don't love yourself, have self-esteem, nor self-respect. You don't value yourself. You don't know your worth. If you did, you would have never tolerated such things and overlooked and ignored the red flags. That goes for both genders.